Hello, it's Christine from the channel Christine and Celeste, and today I want to do a VR to KellyBear about the 5 decks I can't live without. Now, I did the original video, was it 3 years ago, and I'm not sure if they changed. I didn't watch it again, but there is for sure. My first one is one that actually it's a deck that lives by the door, so in case of emergency I just grab the deck and run out. So it's the Aras Tarot by Pamela Matthews and Mike Booth. Now I think it was the very first edition, 2005. I've had this tarot forever. It comes with a little guidebook, but there's also another book you can buy. It's an out of print deck. This is the bottle back. So let me explain a little bit if you haven't seen it. Mine has 115 cards, that's the last one. It's so complete. It has, well, that's my birth card. It has angels, archangels. It's a tarot, but with all extras. Ascended masters. It's an extremely connected, colorful, spiritual deck. It's gentle, yet when you have the Arasoma books, when you read the back, which is the bottle, so the bottles colors are reflected. It's the same colors used at the front, so you can do a color reading just with this. Now this is a copy only for me. I have a backup copy without the bottle back that I use for the people, but this is mine. I don't know what to say about it. It's been my companion for a very long time. It's not a tarot that I would use to do, obviously, a general reading. As you can see, it has more a healing effect. But, you know, don't misunderstand it. It does go to the root of the problem if there is a problem. Often psychological or physical, be it not in a doctor kind of way, but unbalanced way. It has a first set of majors and then a last set of majors. So you have the normal majors, then it's built like a tarot, but at the end you have an extra set of majors which they call return, and it means realized. So like this judgment is fully realized. So when you get a card like this with those bottles, oh, it's I mean, I don't know what to say in 2 minutes about this deck, because obviously there's so much to say. It got me, although I was a reader who read in shops and markets, and I was doing more love readings, or will I get a job, or you know, this type of readings. This deck got me into the more, can I call it, spiritual side of tarot. Although you can get there with any deck really, but I wasn't very angels, archangel, ascended masters. But through working with this deck, I got into it. So there you go. You know, we evolve. I've been reading tarot for I don't know how many years. I think it's nearly 40. Jeez. So, oh wow. Yeah. And yes, so multiple readings with this deck, and also with then the bottles, and then you can do a healing. So, you know, it's really fantastic. Now, I've cheated a bit because I can't just do like most people. I watched your videos and I've seen that most of you cheated. There was more than 5 decks, and I chose 5 tarot decks, right? But I could not show them without the oracles that they live with. And so sorry, it's gonna be 10 decks then, but that's how I use them. And I can't show the Arasoma Tarot without showing the Farben by Darsha Willing. So what she did Darsho, she took the bottles, the real bottles, because they are real bottles, right? They're made from essences of colors and flowers and water and oil and crystal energy. So she took the bottles, so that's the backs, and she shook them and took pictures of all of them. Now it doesn't go to 115. I can't remember how many, maybe 110. But you know, it's enough, it's okay. So let me show you the bottles. So that's what it would be like. What I would do, obviously, it would be in order if I work with a client, and I would pick 22, then I would look for 22 in there and do another reading, intuitive reading, with what I see. Like here, for example, I see ants, and I don't know, we are in kind of a lake, it seems, and it's very sunny, and you know, and I start setting a scene regarding that card. I don't know if I could find 7 for you, because there's so many cards. I doubt I will get it, and it's going to be boring for me, you know, to go through it, but just in case I can spot it quickly, which, you know, never happens. It's always the last one, and then you have to go through the deck when you're recording. Yeah, I won't find it. But anyway, and then I see lotuses, so I see the piece, I see two ants, but I would say it's maybe workers, because ants are working on there, they're always working. So then I would set up a whole situation with it, reading intuitively. So that's how I read with Aras and Farben. So they're both my top decks. They're both, as I said, leave by my front door, just in case. So let me put that back. They're my dear decks. I can't live without. And they're not the only ones, but that's the main one that I cannot leave behind in any case, right? So now the second one is my first tarot deck. Put that back. Sorry about this, but I don't want to leave them out. So as I said, the new Arasoma Tarot, New Aeon, is out of print, but Farben, which is quite cheap, you find it on Amazon, is still available. Now, this is my first tarot deck, and it's called the New Tarot Deck, and someone made me a box because it is really falling apart. It's a Californian independent deck. It's the second edition by John Hurley and John Horler, I think. How do I open it? There you go. So this is how I came into tarot. I bought a book on psychology, and there was a deck that was used in that book. It was in French, and then I saw the decks just next to it, and I decided to purchase it too. To me, it wasn't tarot, it was a game of cards that accompanied it. So with it, they've done a third edition in French, I've seen, in Quebec. That's what's left of the booklet. I think it was in the 70s, 1974. So this deck, you just don't need many cards. With just one card, for example, you can see a lot in it. It's a lot of situation, and you just project. It's a projection deck. You project yourself into it. And I like to have decks to do different things. You see, I won't do spiritual readings for everyone. Sometimes, you know, I'm doing it for a friend, if they get a job, if they'll get the apartment they're looking for, if they can buy a house, you know, and I need a deck, a versatile deck, and some I like to section them. I won't use this one, for example, about getting a job. It is really a reflective deck. I've used it a lot in bars and parties, and you can see it's been poor deck, but yes, there's nudity in some of my cards. There's nudity. I hope you don't mind me showing it. They're really small cards. That's the backs. They're really small cards. The picture is a little bit dark, and that's it. It's fine. It's fine. And it just follows a tarot deck, the tarot deck system, right? But it's very different, and it's a bit cruel, a bit crude sometimes. But I believe, you know, it's funny because I love my spiritual decks like Aras, but sometimes I believe you really have to punch it in the depth of yourself to bring out what you need to heal. And this is the deck for this. So I've used it on its own for a very, very long time. And recently I've mixed oracles with it. So I'll show you which ones. There are two oracles that are becoming my favorites. I told you I'm cheating really badly. I'm sorry about this. First, there's the We Star Oracle. It's a Scottish lady called Trisha Murray. It's an independent deck. And let me show you. This is a deck to work on yourself too. Now, there's no book, but you have 3 cards explaining how to use the cards and the title card. Then, let me move the boxes because there's too many boxes already. The illustrations, I feel, it's a shame my cards are a bit yellow now, but the illustrations really talk to me with this deck. They're simple yet not simplistic. You can see, for example, this one is called 23 Immersion, and then you've got a text at the back. I've never been fond of that, and you know what? This doesn't bother me in this case at all. So sometimes you think, oh, I don't like collage deck, or I don't like this, I don't like that, and then you fall in love with one, and this is what happened to me. I'm like, oh, I don't like all these writing on cards or at the back, on the back of the cards. And then I have a card like this called Awareness, and I've got this card, and straight away things start getting into motion. I see where the issue is about self-awareness. I could read the text if I wanted. I hardly do, but I like to know the title, though it does help me a bit. So this is about awareness. Then I take the Inner Compass. So the Inner Compass cards are cards that I really like too. Come in a big box with a guidebook. So that's the guidebook. It's nice. The author, excuse me, Neil Van Lierop, is posting on Facebook some different descriptions of the cards, which I'm really enjoying. And I believe there's an Inner Compass Love cards that is coming out. But anyway, I'm not doing a review. I stop here. I can't help myself, you know, years of review on YouTube. So let's say, you know, that's the first card. For example, Transformation. And that's how I would read these. These are really for self-development, looking at an issue that's blocking you, even for your clients. And I do like to mix all of them. This goes straight to the issue, then it shows me how it affects the issue, and then how to deal with it and what to do about it. I could obviously pull more cards. Sometimes I do, for example, like this, right? So that's how I use these. So that's my second deck. cheating, I know. But I couldn't decide because last year has been for me, past 2 years have been oracle years for me. I've bought a lot more oracles than tarot because, to tell you the truth, I'm getting a little bit bored to see all different versions of the tarot. You know, how many versions can you have of the Fool? And yeah, some still surprise me, but I'm just getting bored, you know, to have all these clones of all the systems. So I went more towards some Oracle decks to have more free, you know, no frame reading, which startled me to start with, and now I'm really enjoying. But I still need the odd keyword to help me read with oracles. Next, my workhorse, which will always be with me. You know, I thought maybe I'll do this tag for 2019, but as it turns out, I could not bypass all my staple decks really. So I decided, even if I've shown them already, I decided to show them again. So that's my Aquarian tarot. It's an original one from, I think, the 80s. What is it? It says 1970 US game, so I don't know. I don't have, the box is long gone. This is a deck that, because when I started learning tarot, it was in the UK, so I had to use, not had, but the learning deck in the UK is the Rider-Waite, and I never liked it. Sorry guys, but I don't. So it's not about illustrations, I just don't, it just doesn't talk to me, and that's that. And then I asked, you know, what deck I could buy to do the learning with everybody that would be like the Rider-Waite, and they gave me a list, and I found this one, and I said, this is the one, it's soft, and I started learning with it. So that was my learning deck, and then I started doing professional readings with it. And then one day, while I was doing a reading, I started seeing chakras on the cards, and I was extremely surprised. I knew what chakras were because I was doing yoga, but I just had a notion. I didn't know how to read chakras. And then this deck taught me how to read chakras. So that's my main reading deck. I read for everything, and including chakras. And chakras tell me, I don't really read health, I read imbalance in a person, but I read also a lot of predictive with this one. So that was the back at the time. It's not like this anymore. I think they've added a white border or whatever, which is, I don't understand why they can make it like this in the 70s and then they have to put a white border in 2019. But anyway, so with this deck, I used it on its own for a long time, and then I decided to find an oracle for it, and the perfect one is the Vessel Oracle, because once again it's I love the box. It's very soft, although you know it can be difficult, but it's a soft deck. I think it's the colors and the drawing. It's got a little booklet, you know, very simple, right, handwritten, very simple booklet. And I just feel that the cards go together, and I'm off limit, and go well together. So I don't know, they resonate. See what I mean? And it's not the same style of art, and I'm not trying this because I'm not making pictures for Instagram, you know what I mean? I'm reading with it, and also it's got to have some coherence between the colors a little bit, but no more than that. I don't mind if it's completely, how funny. You see? How funny. You see, that's what this deck does. It's just, these decks together, they're crazy. They talk to each other. They're brilliant. I love them. I can't now use them, and that's why I'm showing them together. I know it's a tarot tag, but I can't. It wouldn't be honest to me to say I just use that, because it's not true. So that's my third one. Yes, I've got 2 left. Now for the last 2, I had to think, because these are my staples. They're the ones that if we do a top 3 in 20 years, will still be there. They will never budge. they've been here for the past 20 years and they'll be here for the next 20. I'm sure about this. But sometimes some surprise you. And once again, to give a different type of reading on the Churchill is inner child with a twist, let's say. And I love using this deck, for example, for inner child, but also for more complex situation. There's something about it. It takes the seriousness out a bit. I don't know, I find it a bit lighter, although it's a heavy deck, don't misunderstand me. So what I did, you see the box. The box is from the French edition. The Los Scarabeo is not with the box, but I fell in love with the box, so I bought the French edition and put the Los Scarabeo in it, because I didn't like the way the French edition put the words back and the titles. I didn't want that, but the French book is fantastic. Anyway, tarot lovers, huh? We love boxes, pens, whatever. So the Churchill, it's good for dream work. It's good for inner child, and it's good for childhood traumas. So that's why there's a bit of controversy with this deck, because using young girls with short skirts, whatever. I'm not getting into that. This is not my purpose or the way I read. But it's more about. See, I love this one, for example, the Hermit. And the Hermit here, as an adult, is going in circles with the inner child. So are they dancing together? Are they looking for each other? See, and then that's where a whole scene again starts. And I just like this deck very much. Although it's not part of my 3 staple decks, it's one that when I thought about it, I thought I have to put the Churchill in, because it does bring this. I believe a lot of us are unhappy because our inner child is crying. Mine is, and so it's an essential deck, because we're basically, we're all looking for happiness, and I believe that this deck can show you how your inner child is, and how to play with it better. So yeah, Nicoletta Churchill deck. And this one, funny enough, I use it with a deck that has nothing to do with it. It's the Carte Divinatoire d'Algariel. Now that's my box. That's a box I made. It's not the original box. It's the first edition I have here. Let me see, because there's another deck underneath. It comes with this little booklet. I think that's the 3rd edition booklet, but anyway, it comes with a little booklet, French and English. French on one side, English on the other side. So, and I don't know, they have nothing to do together, right? But somehow these two give me messages too. You see, for example, here, you see the cord and the tail. I don't know, they somehow don't go together, but they read well together. So I had to show it too. I think because this there's a kind of heaviness too about the Algariel, right? So sorry, I'm too high again. There's a kind of heaviness, so they nostalgia, and but I like the way they talk to each other. Now I use other decks with this one too, but that's the first one I thought about when we put them together. And you see here the big lizard. Usually they go on the walls here, so but this one's inside. So yes. The Nicoletta Churchill. There. So as I said, this is the French edition box. the Los Carabeo comes in a normal tug box, doesn't it? If I remember well. There. And the last one, and I had once again, I love all my tarot. I don't know how many decks I have. I haven't counted them recently, but maybe 50, 60, and I'm probably, when I say this, then I'll count them, it's like 100, but I'm not sure. No, it should be 50, 60. And I don't keep the ones I don't love, so I love all of them. And this was so hard to make a decision, but there's another one that made the list. It's the Tarot of the Crown by Ellen Lorenzi Prince. This one is an independent deck. I believe it's the second edition with the black backs. I can't remember. I have a blank. I think it is. Yeah. So you have, what is it? Yes. So the backs are black, plain black, which I love, there's a black border on the cards, and I love the colors, first of all, the colors used, and I love the simplicity of the illustrations. Funny because it's a crown deck, but I believe you can apply it to everybody, but obviously it is more now in my age group, right? It's every reading, every time you look at a card, the reading gets different. I don't know how to explain it. Once again, you have people of all sorts, and I think it suits everybody, this deck. I don't know what to say about it, because it's a bit of a deep rooted magic deck. I don't know how to explain that really, but you really go in the depth of yourself and feel your connection with the universe with these cards, but in a more, although the Aras Tarot is the universe as in ascended master, so it's more like all the above chakras. This one I feel it's the earth star chakra and all the earth chakras that go deep in the earth, right? It roots me, and I like that because I need it. I need to be rooted, and it can be a bit scary too, which I find interesting. But it's not scary vampire. I can't have any kind of these decks. I can't. But it's scary as in, like this, for example, the Shadow of Sword. It's like your image is shattering, like, that's how I say, shattering like a mirror, and that's when you're not sure who you are and what's happening. And I find this card really powerful. But anyway, this is more Kundalini, and there's so much to say about each card. Each card is just crazy, very deep, very intense, and I don't believe, it's a deck I use for me. I'm not sure I would use this deck with people, or if I did, I would make sure I use it with the oracle that comes with it, and I'll show you the oracle. And that wasn't my idea. I saw it on YouTube, I believe, or on Facebook, and it's the Iris oracle. I like, all the Spirit Speak deck. I forgot to say that the Vessel Oracle was a Spirit Speak deck. I'm fond of all the Spirit Speak decks. So here it is. And these two decks seem to have been drawn together. I'm too high again. It's and it brings a lighter side to it, if you know what I mean by these more simple drawings. It brings a lighter side, which I like, because this to me is a very heavy deck that I would not use for basic everyday questions. This is an introspective deck, and with this it really helps you see, laughing and crying. they just go together. I could, you know, I didn't put them in order, but you can see here the Justice, for example, and with the web. And here you can see it's the same with the Labyrinth. So it's the same type of construction. It's they're just amazing together once again. I don't know how long I've been, probably too long as usual, but I really wanted to share with you my top 5 decks that seem to be my forever decks, although, as I said, the last 2 can be interchangeable, depending on my mood. But the first 3 for sure. So thank you for watching, and I've been watching everybody's. I think I've got 1 left. I'm really enjoying it. I've only bought 2 decks since I've watched all yours. Only 2, right? So oh my god. So see you soon. Bye bye.